So today's agenda, we are going to be discussing the traditional versus inline details view. We are going to take a look at our company settings for work order line item detail view and how to manipulate our settings. And then we are going to take a deep dive into the many functionalities of manipulating your work orders. And then we will save about the last 10 to 15 minutes for any questions that you might have. So before we get started on the difference in the traditional versus the inline details view, I wanted to explain of the importance of the work order system as a whole and why it is important for users to implement this into their business practices. The work order system is one of the most important and effective ways to budget projects, to track job costs, and to track scheduling items. And the work order system is designed specifically to budget and record what your sub-trades should be paid for the work that they're performing on your project. So overall, work orders are used to budget your project in terms of gross profitability. So within this screenshot here, you can see this is our traditional work order view, and this is the default setting within Proven Job Management. So what this is a drill down details view, meaning once I place my cursor within the description here and I click on that when I'm live in Proven Job Management, my line item details will expand down here at the bottom, thus allowing me to edit these options here. Okay, so again, for this specific view, you must click within the description to expand your line item details view in order to edit those specific line item details. If you like a more condensed look, we do have our second option, which again was released over the summer. It is our inline details work order view. And you can change your setting. It's a company setting, so just please make note if your administrator does opt to change this setting, it will be for the entire company. It is not a user-defined setting. And that can be found within company settings, jobs, and work order. On the next screen, I do have an area where I can show you exactly what that looks like. Okay, and this is a condensed view similar to PSA desktop accounting application. So I have a couple chats over here. I have one person that can't hear anything and another telling me that my audio is breaking up. Can everyone hear me okay?
Taylor, your audio's fine. It might be on their end. It's consistent. I sent a message to Parker Anderson. Oh, he's got his audio now, so he's good to go.
Okay, thank you for confirming. Okay, so again, we were just discussing the inline details work order view, and this is a more condensed view that is similar to the PSA desktop application if you are a client that is utilizing that application. And within our previous screen, I would have to click within the description to expand, but in this view, you have the option to view this in a condensed fashion. So the line item will display in full without having to drill down on the line item to edit. You can make all of your edits here within this particular view. So within your company settings, here's a screenshot. I have selected settings, company settings, and on my jobs tab, there is a work order subtab. And that is where the use inline details view selector lives. By default, it will come unchecked. If unchecked, the line item detail will need to be clicked within to drill down and expand and edit the line item details. That's our expanded view. If you have it checked and then you select save for your company settings, then that line item detail will display in full without having to drill down on that line item. So that is our more condensed view. So let's go into Proven Job Management and let's see exactly what some of these features look like. So I'm going to click within this newly created job here. I can already tell by my column, my estimated revenue, I don't have any work orders on this specific project. So I want to start in a clean job first, and then we will transition into one where I have imported an Xactimate estimate here. So let's look in this Justin Bagwell cleaning project. I'm selecting edit. And once I am in my active job, I will see what active job I have lastly clicked in, which is available up here in our upper right-hand corner. It's also a hyperlink as well. I'm going to hover over jobs, and then I'm going to go transition to work orders. But before I click on work orders, I wanted to make note on my job info tab, you can see the estimated revenue is currently at 0, and I cannot manipulate that estimated revenue from this screen. So I'm going to show you how to do that. Hover over jobs, go into your work orders, and each time a brand new job is created within Proven Job Management, a single work order will be automatically created for you. So I did not create work order 0291. The system will automatically do that for you. And the reason this is intended to serve as a placeholder to enter in that estimated revenue prior to your actual estimate being ready. So if I wanted to create that placeholder, again, right now my estimated revenue is $0, but I want it to reflect a numerical value here. I need to, first, I'm going to make sure my work order is selected, which I can easily tell because it is highlighted in blue, okay? And now I'm going to click on add, which will add a line item for work order 0291, okay? The description must be entered in order to save this. If I don't have a description, I will receive an error message. So let's enter in our description for estimated revenue. And here as well, these are our line item notes. You can see when I click around the system, it's telling me up here what I'm clicked on. So description, it's highlighted in blue. Line item notes, it's highlighted in blue. Okay. And then we can just enter in a value. And once I clicked enter, I can tell my estimated revenue has changed to $5,000. Okay, I wanted to also point out the blue line here. This reflects your price and your estimated revenue. This is the price your customer is paying, while the yellow line reflects the cost and budget. Okay. Once I have my estimated revenue entered, you always need to click save once you have manipulated any of your line item details here. Now I want to create another work order. Let's click create. And I just created work order 0298. I have that specific work order selected because it's highlighted in blue. I'm going to click add down here at the bottom so it will create an area for me to enter specific line items. And I want to show you the specific functionality of the subtrade agreed quote. So what this is intended to be utilized for, if you and your subtrade come up with an agreed upon price, you can utilize the subtrade agreed quote option. So let's just say for this specific subtrade, so let's always be sure to enter in our description. Okay, we have agreed upon a price for this specific work order for $1,500, and I'm going to select apply. And now the system is asking, are you sure you want to add the specified subtrade agreed quote? I'm clicking on yes. And as you can see, that cost has now been reflected here. And then just always ensure you're selecting save. So that is the very basic functionalities. I'm going to talk more in detail about these options, but I want to transition into another project in which I have imported an Xactimate estimate, so we can go into greater detail. So to get back to your job screen, you can click your Proven Job Management logo up here at the top. It is a hyperlink to take you back, or you can go to jobs and then select jobs again. From here, I am going to enter into my Nate Larkin project where I can already see I do have an estimated revenue of $31,506.93. So let's select edit. And then let's go into our specific work orders. So as you can see here, we have several work orders populated. And when you import an estimate from Xactimate, all the work orders are created for each category of cost, which is what you create in Xactimate. And another thing I wanted to point out, when you import an estimate from Xactimate, your job type gross margin percentages that are set up within your company settings will not be reflected. Xactimate does not recognize those specific gross margins per job type that you have defined within your company settings. So you do have the option to override those imported margins because you want your yellow line items to reflect the budget that you are attempting to work within. Okay, so you have 3 different areas where you can manipulate your gross margin. If I hover over edit, I can change the gross margin for all work orders. This specific option will change my gross margin for every single work order. I can edit my margin at the line item level here. And then I can also edit my gross margin at the specific work order level as well. So since our eyes are already on the bottom of our screen, I wanted to point out these figures on our right or for the specific work order selected. And again, to know which work order you have selected, it's not only highlighted in blue, it's also defined here in the middle of your screen, work order 0279, highlighted in blue, also available on my screen. That is the price and cost that you see on the right, where on the left, this is your overall job price and cost. Okay, so you have your job and then you have your work order. Okay, so within our company settings, you can also choose how you want your estimate to import in regards to overhead and profit and taxes. So before we transition to our company settings, I want to point out this work order 0278. A separate work order has been created for this because of how I have my company settings. And I actually have another overhead I'm going to look at 0269. So within our company settings, I'm clicking on integration, and then I have an Xactimate area. Within our dropdown, we have a couple different options. For, again, it's overhead and profit, and then taxes. The by estimate option will create a separate work order containing just the overhead and profit for the entire estimate as seen on that work order that we just selected, that 029. By category, this will add overhead and profit or taxes within each work order as a new line item detail. And then the by item, that will be calculated into the line item itself. So this selection here within your integration menu and company settings, this will affect how your estimate is imported from Xactimate. But in order to utilize the work order screen, you do not have to import your estimates from Xactimate. You can create individual work orders if you desire to do so. So now let's talk about our options along the top. We have edit. Once I hover over edit, I can select a work order to delete it, or I can merge a work order. The merge option allows you to merge multiple work orders into a single work order. And when this is done, the system will keep the first work order with the smallest number and also choose the category in alphabetical order. And those categories will appear within the line item details alphabetically. So let's pick 2. I'm going to merge this appliance and we'll just say the door. So when I merge these two into a single work order, the system is going to keep 0271 because that's the smallest value. 0272 will go away, and my category will be appliance and not door because that is the first alphabetical order there. So I'm hovering over edit, I'm selecting merge. Yes, I want to merge these together. And here, when I go into work order 7.1, you can see 7.2 is gone. And when I select my appliance, I can then see my door line item there as well. Hovering over edit again, I have a transfer and duplicate option. This option allows users to either transfer work orders to another job or duplicate work orders to another job. The transfer option will move all selected work orders from one job to another, thus removing the work orders from the initial job. So let's select one to transfer. I'm going to select this clean work order, edit, transfer, and duplicate. It's asking me which job do you want to transfer this to. I'm just going to select one from the list. Again, that's 0270. It's going to disappear from our list once I click transfer. And yes, I want to transfer this. As you can see, 0270 is gone, and it will appear on the job that we just transferred it to. The duplicate option allows you to keep the work orders on the existing active project and duplicate them onto another selected project. When utilizing the duplication tool, the work order numbers will not duplicate, just the line item details. The duplicated work orders will receive an updated numbering sequence. So let's duplicate our drywall work order. Let's select the Callison Smith project, and I'm simply just going to duplicate this and then select yes. And as you can see, that drywall work order is still available within my active project. It has just duplicated onto the Callison Smith project with an updated work order. It will not duplicate as work order 0273 because each work order is unique within our system. The transfer option that I just showed you works very similarly to the PSA desktop accounting estimate transfer tool if you're used to utilizing that specific tool. Next, let's talk about split material. There might be instances where you want material line items to be captured in a separate work order and not have labor included. Perhaps you as the contractor are going to purchase materials yourself because the subtrade is not providing materials. When you split the materials into a separate work order, that newly generated work order will essentially become your shopping list of materials to be purchased for this job. So let's do this action here. I'm going to select this FNC category here, work order 0276. I'm hovering over edit and I'm going to select split material. I'm going to highlight this in blue before I do so because I want to show you at the bottom of our screen, you can see my material and my labor, but I want to split out my material. I want this to read 0. So once I have my selected work order, I'm clicking that check mark, I'm hovering over edit, and then I am clicking split material. And once I select that option, the system is now giving me my material line items. So I can either select one or two, or I can select them all if I want every material line item to be transferred to a different work order. So once I have selected all of my material line items for this specific work order 0276, I now have an option up here at the top where I can either create a new work order, meaning all of these material line items will create a brand new work order, or I can add them to a pre-existing work order within the system. For this example, I am going to select create, and then I'm going to select save. And someone has come off mute. If you don't mind to please mute yourself to cut down on any distractions. So the original work order, this 0276, as you can see, my material is now at 0 and I can only see my labor, which is exactly what we wanted. And for this newly created work order 0300, this, once it loads, you will see all of the material transferred and labor will be 0 for this specific work order. I apologize, I'm having a lag in my internet today, so bear with me. Okay, again, here's work order 300. Here's my material line items, and labor is at 0. Next, I have a couple options for convert to voucher and convert to invoice. If you are a proven job management only client that does not utilize PSA desktop accounting, you do have the ability to convert vouchers or invoices to QuickBooks and close work orders. However, please note, if you are a PSA desktop accounting user, that functionality must be completed within PSA desktop and not within proven job management. Next, our schedule feature. When I hover over this, I'm presented with two options. I can select the calendar view if I want to create a scheduled event for the selected work order and assign this to an internal technician or external subtrade. Or I do have the option to view the advanced schedule, which has the ability to create a Gantt chart for your specified scheduled events and work orders and assign milestones to sync to contractor connection job track if you are integrated with that software. Our last option at the top is print, and I am presented with 3 different options. The print feature will print the selected work order. So I'm going to place my check mark, select print, and then print again. I can change my preview parameters to include or not include note, cost, and labor. And typically this option, this print option, will be utilized if you want to give a subtrade a copy of a work order because it will only show cost and not that price. To get back to our work order screen, I'm selecting this grid view here to go back to our list, back to our work order screen. The second option is print estimate. This will print all work orders with their associated price. Typically, this is what you would print to give to the customer if they are requesting a copy of their estimate. And lastly, we have create attachment. This option will create a PDF copy of the work order and save that PDF within your job file on the attachment tab. And because that will now be available under attachments and then documents on this specific job here, this will allow you to email a copy of that work order to an internal employee or subtrade by utilizing a log note and attaching that work order to that log note. So you will have a date and timestamp on when you sent that specific individual a copy of that work order. I wanted to point out that each column within the top area of our screen is searchable. Perhaps if you have a large estimate, it will be beneficial for you to be able to search by work order number, category. You have the ability to view those start and end times if you are utilizing the schedule feature that will update the start, end, and your attendees. And also, you can view the invoices, vouchers, any closed work orders. And then you also have the ability to add work order notes by simply selecting in that notes field here. And then you can add in a particular note and select save. Okay, so now I want to transition to our line item detail area here in the middle of our screen. And I want to talk about our options. We have save, add, remove, transfer items, and then the subtrade agreed quote, which we have already discussed on a previous job. The transfer items will allow me to select a specific line item and move that one line item or multiple line items to a pre-existing work order within the same active job. So again, I can select all, or I can select a few line items that I want to transfer. In this case, I am going to select our light fixture here. I'm going to click on transfer, and now it's prompting me to select the work order. The work order must already be existing to be viewable on this drop-down list. Let's, just for testing purposes, let's move this to work order 0279. And now I'm selecting to transfer, and then I'm confirming with yes. So now let's go into that work order 0279, and I can see that light fixture line item that I just transferred. Okay, let's create a new work order. I'm going to select my create option up here at the top. And when selecting to create a new work order, I wanted to point out that work order numbers are created sequentially as defined within your company settings default number templates. You will never systematically see like work order numbers, as these must be uniquely identifiable. So when you create a new work order, in order to put line item details within the specific generated work order, I'm going to select add. And your description, again, you must have a description in here to be saved. So I'm going to enter in drywall. And now I want to take a look at our unit price feature. When using the unit price, this is looking to multiply what you have entered for the quantity. For instance, if you charge $1.60 per square feet of drywall and you have 100 square feet, you can enter 100 into the quantity and then enter $1.60 into the unit price area. And once I select enter, my material has updated to be $160 because that material is auto-calculated based upon the quantity multiplier to the unit price. I'm going to select save. I'm going to add one additional work order here. I'm clicking add my line item. And sometimes I wanted to point out that we sometimes receive questions on how to manipulate the line item with cost but no revenue, or how to manipulate the line item with revenue and no cost. So dependent on your situation, I do want to show you how to do this. Again, I'm going to enter in my description. I'm going to show you how to do cost with no revenue first. So as you can see, I can only type in my blue area. I don't have the option to enter in anything in our yellow field. So I am going to enter in, let's just say $500. Okay. But I want cost but no revenue here. So in order to get around this, we can place our check mark in our margin area and then change this to 100%. And as you can see, I have cost and no revenue here. Let's select save. And now I'm going to do the inverse. Let's add a new line item. Let's do that description. So we are going to do revenue with no cost. Let's add in $500 again. We don't need to check mark this field. We are simply adding in 100%. And as you can see, now I have revenue with no cost. In my top option, I have cost with no revenue, and then revenue with no cost. So there's just a couple manipulations you can do over here on the right side of your screen to get around and be able to manipulate these fields how you desire to do so. Very quickly, I do want to talk about creating a predefined price list. Before I transition out, I'm going to select save to ensure that those line item details have saved. So to create a predefined price list, you can define specific products within the equipment and then products menu. If you are a PSA desktop user, these products must be created within the desktop inventory, and then those items will sync back to Proven Job Management. So I already have this up. I'm just simply on equipment and then products. And I wanted to bring your eye to my degreaser. I have a cost of $49.99 and no price selected here. So I'm going to create a new work order. And once my system allows me to create this, I knew it would do it 3 times, I apologize. I'm going to add in my line item and then that description. If I simply just begin typing in degreaser, the system is recognizing that product that I have entered within the system. So I'm going to select this. And as you can see, my cost of $49.99 has populated for me. So this allows you to systematically capture products or consumables that you're using as specific job cost. So I know we have covered a lot of groundwork. We have approximately 10 minutes left. So I do want to open this up and I'm going to begin reading some of our chats over here. So let's see. Okay, this question is from Kathy. If you create a job in the desktop, will the automated work order be created? No, it will not. The automated work order is only generated when a job is created within Proven Job Management on the web-based side. The automatically created work order will not occur in the desktop. The next question from Ruby. When you select the subtrade agreed quote, the category and selector automatically changed to default from direct cost. Do you think this is an issue? No, this is dependent on how your settings are set up within here for what you see within the specific list. I'm simply in a trainer's demo database, but whatever is within your system will be available on this drop-down list here. The next question, why would you want to transfer or duplicate work orders to another job, as every job has its own set of estimated items, rarely matching the other jobs? A good option, I just don't know if it would be used. It really depends on the situation. I have seen clients create a job for potentially supplement reasons, and they wanted to transfer and duplicate the original estimate over. It really depends on that situation there. Okay, and then the last question I have from David is, how do you add overhead revenue costs? And David, can you come off mute and can you define that? Is that overhead for a technician for job costing purposes, or is that per job type perhaps where you want that overhead to be captured? And you might still be on mute there, but you do have a couple different options for adding overhead. You can add this per job type, or you can also add it per employee if you want that captured as a specific job cost. And also within your company settings for any overhead and profit on your estimate, you do have the option of bringing that in if that is captured within Xactimate as well. Okay. I do want to talk about one more thing. That was the last question. So we do have about 5 minutes left together. So I do have time to talk about one more thing in regards to Xactimate. So in this example here, this was an estimate that I imported from Xactimate into Proven Job Management. And perhaps I'm midway through the project and I have a supplement or I need to update something within my estimate here and my work orders. To update that, I can transfer to integration and I'm going to select Xactimate. And once I go into this menu here, my estimate that I have connected to my project will appear. And I have 3 different action items that I wanted to touch on today. So again, this is used for your approved linked estimate. Maybe it changes mid-project, which can happen with change orders, supplements, etc. You will need to export the linked estimate from Xactimate into Proven Job Management, and then transition to the integration and then Xactimate menu. And within this menu, the estimate for your actively selected job will appear. And you have 3 options for action: replace, update, and append new. The replace option will take all existing work orders that are already existing on your job file and replace it with new information of the new work orders. The update function, this option is to be utilized if I already have an estimate on my job and I go back into Xactimate to make a few changes to a few line items within my estimate in Xactimate. I will export that estimate from Exact to come back into Proven Job Management. And when I select update, the system will look for those changed line items from the new estimate that we just sent over and update that information within the existing work orders. And the third option is my personal favorite, append new. And you use this option anytime you add a supplement to an estimate within Xactimate. This will import your new work orders and keep your existing work orders intact. Okay, so we have come to the end of today's session. I don't see any additional questions in our chat. If you happen to think of anything after today's session, please feel free to reach out to support. You can call or you can also email them, support@canamsys.com, and we will be happy to help you. I hope you all enjoy the rest of your Wednesday. Thank you for your time today.